Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Anthony J. here with America's Weather Streaming Channel and reaching out to our friends in Florida, giving you an update on the tropical weather as we're watching a couple things here. I'll get right into it here. Into the tropical season, just about to get into August now, and I'll show you the satellite, a wide view of much of the Western Hemisphere. And what we're watching is a tropical wave that we mentioned on Facebook and on social media that came off the African coast about 5 days ago and is now over Puerto Rico as of late Wednesday and bringing some squally weather down to this area. Not developing right now, but that's the main area that we're watching and you may have heard about. There's also a tropical storm out in the Pacific, Carlotta, off the coast of Mexico, but that is moving out to sea, so we're not concerned about that. Now, here's another vantage point as we zoom into the Caribbean here. There's a couple of disturbances here, one over like Central America or over Nicaragua, but that's not expected to develop. The one that we're more concerned about is this one right now, moving past Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and it's been bringing some locally heavy rain. Again, it's just a tropical wave at this point, or cluster of showers and thunderstorms, but we're watching it as it's going to move almost due west over the next couple days and eventually should end up somewhere not too far off the Florida coast. The National Hurricane Center highlighting it as of their latest update. This was as of just before 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. This is where the system is now. It's expected to kind of follow this arrow and head in this general direction and end up somewhere in this hatched area by the weekend. So they give it a 60% chance of formation in the next 7 days. And, we think we'll probably see something form before then. Now, what's going to happen is, I'll just show you some of the models here. We are monitoring this because the computer forecast models are all over the place still in terms of where this is going to go. So let me just show you the Euro model. This is from earlier Wednesday. It was showing a storm system developing here Saturday and then moving over Florida around Sunday, and then at some point moving or kind of hovering over Florida and potentially producing some very heavy rain. But you can see the path is a rather long path. So this is Thursday. So what I'm trying to get point is that this storm is going to head north, it looks like, and then kind of tease Florida as we head through time. We have different models. Here's a more recent model that came in Saturday. It's not far from the Keys, and then it brings looks like a tropical storm up to near Tampa on Sunday. But that is not a forecast. That's just a projection right now from one of those models. Another model I'll show you, which is usually pretty reliable, the American model, or GFS. This is Saturday morning about 8 a.m. It has a low pressure down here. That's the tropical wave. Not too much effects over Florida yet. We start to see some rain bands, some showers could move overhead. You know, we get showers and thunderstorms all the time in Florida, but this will start to enhance things perhaps by late Saturday and Sunday. This is the American model Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. Okay, so it has a storm. You see these isobars here, these lines, and these higher colors here, indicating that would be a tropical storm most likely by 8 p.m. Sunday, somewhere in this area. It has it here in the Northeast Gulf. It could be near the coast, or it could be out here. There's still considerable uncertainty with this, but we're starting to get a little better idea because previously the models were showing this going out to sea, a lot of them, off of North Carolina. That looks less likely right now. And as I move the American model a little bit more, you see it has it strengthening to a hurricane. And this is Monday, so it has a potential hurricane on the Florida Panhandle coast by Monday, and advancing it even further into Tuesday and Wednesday. It really doesn't have it moving anywhere. So we're starting to get a little better handle on what could potentially happen here. And one effect of this we think that's looking increasingly likely is some heavy rainfall for the state of Florida, perhaps more towards the western part of the state and less towards southeast Florida. But we want everybody to just be keeping up to date on the weather forecast with this. This could become, the name would be Debby, Tropical Storm Debby. And here's another perspective on some information that came in late Wednesday. This showing the lines and potential paths of the storm. And this is from the European model, call it ensembles, a bunch of models kind of within the model showing potential tracks. And you see they are kind of clustered here, similar to the American model, seeming to want to take it either towards not far from Tampa or maybe over towards, say, Panama City, Apalachicola, maybe even Pensacola. We're going to continue to watch that. Now, yesterday, these tracks were about 200 to 300 miles farther east off of here, moving off from the Bahamas. So there's fewer of those. So I think now that we're looking at a potential, certainly rain event for a good part of Florida, beginning sometime in the weekend and in earnest, maybe by, say, Sunday night, Monday time frame. And then it may be kind of hanging around here for a few days next week. Now, I want to show you another perspective. This is also the American weather model, but this is actually showing not the surface conditions, but the winds aloft. So essentially, these lines are basically where the jet stream are. So you see, this is Saturday morning at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. This down here is the tropical wave, and this is essentially a cold front or trough that is moving over the Ohio Valley. What's going to happen is the wave has been moving west because it's been steered by the Bermuda High out here, but the Bermuda High is going to weaken on this part of it because this trough, this upper trough, is going to erode away that ridge of high pressure. So the storm, which has been moving west, is going to start moving more north. I'll show you that here. Advance this through Sunday. This is Sunday evening, 8 o'clock. You notice this. Here's the trough I showed you. It's moving through the northeast, but it's actually starting to weaken. It's moving further away from the tropical system. So whereas a couple of days ago it looked like this cold front or trough would pick this system up, the future storm Debby, and move it maybe off the coast here from the Bahamas off to east of North Carolina or maybe even out to sea, the forecast, what has changed is that they're kind of honing in more towards Florida, Gulf of Mexico type of situation. So this would be something that we would have to look at if you live in the Panhandle, in addition to the Florida Peninsula. Now, as we go through time again, you notice these lines over in New England, they continue to lift north. So this, whatever trough this is, this weather system is going to move out and is not going to pick up future storm Debby. So what is going to move it? There's not really much north of the system. So these storms are steered by the winds of the upper atmosphere, the jet stream up here, or if you have a high pressure. This is a high pressure that you see here. So the system is actually kind of squeezed in between high pressure cells, one over Colorado and one way out in the Atlantic. So when that happens, the storm is unable to find the steering winds for it to move. So it may kind of hang around here, as you can see the model is showing, not moving very much at all for about 2 to 3 days. Now, this is just a projection. It has the system like almost stalling over northwest Florida, but it could also be over the Gulf. It could stall out here somewhere, which would be better for us in Florida. It would keep the storm farther away. If it stalls near Florida, we could have several days of certainly some pretty heavy rain at least. Now, I was looking at some of the discussions from the Weather Service office. This is in Tallahassee, Florida. And in their afternoon discussion Wednesday, they do mention this, that they're watching this tropical wave, that the trends have been more to the west into the Gulf of Mexico this weekend. They say one of the more concerning things to note is that the system does make it into the Gulf of Mexico, and there's a potential for it to stall because a high-pressure ridge is going to be to the north of the system, and that trough I mentioned is going to miss it and not be able to pick it up. So they're talking about the possibility of copious amounts of rain for someone. The question is where? And there still remains a large amount of uncertainty with the storm system. But we're getting closer to it, and we think that we're going to see some impacts across at least parts of the state by late this weekend and next week. You see this here on our graphic here. Tropical storm likely to form probably Saturday, if not Sunday. And the rain chances will increase. We'll have thunderstorms scattered around, and then as the tropical system moves in, we'll see more enhancement of that rain Saturday and Sunday. Too early to pinpoint exactly where. The future path's still uncertain, and we also call for the potential for flooding if we do see the storm system slow down over the state. There could be perhaps some significant flooding in some areas, and it could become a hurricane as well sometime between now and Monday, when it likely is somewhere sitting south of the Florida Big Bend area. And just some projections of the American model. This is a look at its rainfall forecast that is from now through Wednesday. And you can see it is showing some copious numbers here, and that is in line with its actual projection of having the storm system moving very close to here, maybe making landfall somewhere on the Florida Panhandle and then kind of stalling out. So it's showing some, prolific rain totals, but this is just a possibility right now. Also some pretty heavy rain in other parts on the peninsula. If the storm, of course, goes up more here, it could go closer to Tampa, and you could see some of these heavier rainfall amounts over Tampa, and there would be less farther to the west. So we're watching this very carefully. It looks like we will have some impacts from a tropical system this weekend over Florida. So we'll be watching it right through the weekend and next week. You can find us on America's Weather streaming channel on social media, on YouTube right here. You can find us, and also on X. We're right here. This is us. And yes, and we're posting updates there. So you can find us on X, on YouTube, on Facebook as well. We are on America's Weather streaming channel. Also, for Florida specifically, we'll be updating the forecast specifically for you with video forecasts and posts to update you on the progress of this, looks like, next potential tropical cyclone. So have a great week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay tuned and be safe out there.